Right now in my house, I only have one chair for the studio. I'm spending 350,000 to travel to the UK to go and do what I need to do. I would have bought a nice sofa. I take TikTok seriously and I deliberately study people. I deliberately study people and I don't study at what is Kajim doing. I study what is Kajim not doing. Prayer items, mob church. It can be summarized in 4 things. Kujenga, aka, school fees for children, ikienda sana promotion ya job.
Welcome to One-on-One with Kajim, where real people share real stories that inspire and transform. From raw truth of the highs and lows of marriage to business, street smart tactics from founders who cash the checks and the powerful voices behind humanitarian change, Kajim sits down with the people making it happen. New episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. One-on-One with Kajim, where every conversation hits home.
Hi, my good people, and welcome to One-on-One with Kajim. Thank you so much for your love, for your support. Imagine we are now road to 20,000 subscribers. I would wish you to maybe continue. And this is a conversation that I always tell you. Hii si ile tunasikiza then unabaki peke yako. Make sure that you subscribe, you like, you share. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode, I'm so much amazed. You know those kind of conversation that you even fearful, like unaogopa. Yani mtu anakuja kwako na anafanya ufeel umeogopa. I know you are even now wondering the person that I'm talking to. Because you tell me, you are sitting down with someone who has mentored you, someone who is walking with you on a journey, ati unawaambia wakae chini. Now you have that conversation. You just figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, right away, all the way from Nigeria, ameland, saizi, juzi, hapa. He's here on One-on-One with Kajim to have just a conversation, a cool, polite conversation. And you're the one, you're actually the judge to say that if you want to see him more and more to discuss just different topics. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce none other than Walubengo.
Thank you, sir.
Unani-intimidate kwangu aje. You know this is my podcast, eh?
Yes, sir.
This is my podcast. One-on-One with Kajim.
Lovely.
But you're making me feel timid.
Feel lovely, man. I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana.
Man, I love the conversations.
Thank you so much.
Nimecheki a number of episodes.
Yes.
And I was really looking forward to sit down with you, have a solid conversation.
Yeah.
Of course, you and I have a lot of conversations behind the scenes.
Exactly. Oh, yes.
So that itakuwa deep inakuanga.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be here.
Can you recall you are the one who made me to come with One-on-One with Kajim? Because every time tungeonana ungeniambia nataka kukuwa na one-on-one na wewe.
And it's interesting. I remember the first class I had with you.
Yeah.
We sat there for 4 hours.
Yes.
Our first meeting.
Yes.
So every time my manager would hear I'm meeting you.
Yes. Anajua hiyo masaa.
Hii meeting haitaenda venye. Like, but I can say like all the times we've met have been significant.
Yes.
And I also celebrate you for the impact you're making.
Yeah.
To the young people in the country. And I believe that you also set up to even push culture shaping conversations. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see how the conversation will unfold. Given the fact that you touch every group of people, you touch business people, the average Kenyan,
yes,
the young person who maybe aja figure out nini anafaa kudu. So I am really looking forward to how it will go. So sijui nini ita happen, but I'm here. It's a new day, and I'm not familiar to this.
Yeah.
Every day I speak, I always tell myself, I'm not going to assume that I've been here before. I speak like it's my first time, and I speak like it's my last time.
Yes. Sasa sijui mbona sikubeba kitabu yangu hapa because I know we are just about to get into class.
Yeah.
Ben, you've been inspiring people for years.
Yes.
What sparked that narrative or that ukajipata in that line?
In that space.
Of inspiring, of coaching, of leadership. Right now, even before we started here, already you've just told us like 1,000 words.
Yes.
And all these words, it's like you have a well in you. Yes. What sparked that?
I can say number one, it came from a place of discontentment. Discontentment na unajua watu unajua we know anger in terms of anger, but there's an anger that is actually good anger.
Holy anger.
Yes, like it's yani you get to a place where you're discontented about things, discontented about life. I grew up asking myself questions like, why do we go to church but there's still poverty at home? Questions like, why is it that this one day my friend Henry took me to a place in Ngong Road. It's a place where they normally do the agricultural show of Kenya.
Yes, okay.
And when we went there, Henry was showing me the amount of resources that are in that place, the amount of space that is not being used. The space is normally used just once a year for agricultural show of Kenya. But he was telling me, look at the amount of facilities that have been built here that are underutilized. And so I began to get angry because I would meet people who have a powerful voice. Someone talks to you, tells you hi, and you feel the hi is not just a normal hi. I would meet people who have powerful smiles, but their smiles are not helping them. I would meet people who are so calm, but their calmness is not helping them. But also looking at myself from being misunderstood a lot, because in school they called me a noisemaker. Because my dad exposed me to a lot of knowledge. I would watch Al Jazeera and BBC at the age of 6, 7.
Oh, really?
Yes, I watched the funeral of Nelson Mandela when I was in class 2. I watched the swearing in of Obama when I was in class 1. All these things I did with my father. So by the time I'm looking at these people, there was a discontentment that, why is it that for you to become president, you must be 35? Why is it that for you to start a company in Kenya, you must be 18? You know? Why is it that there's a good handwriting and a bad handwriting? So from nursery school, teachers kept on saying my handwriting is bad, only for me to grow up later and actually discover when you are a creative or when you're a leader, there's a way your handwriting will show up.
Yeah.
Because how identity is manifested when you're a child is in 3 ways: your handwriting, how you talk, and then your listening ability. It will be manifested that way. As you grow, other diverse ways come. But you see, nursery school, teachers used to beat us with a ruler so that you write a certain way.
Yeah.
So I used to admire the handwriting of my sister, which was thin and a long H. A long H, nice Y, well carved. My handwriting was all over the place. Until later on, I came to realize that handwriting is connected to the intrusive part of the brain. Anyone who has a big handwriting, it shows that their mind thinks in a way that comes with images, meaning they can be good in business or they can be good leaders.
Ooh.
Anyone who has a thin handwriting means that they can be a good architect. They can be a good artist. Anyone who has a handwriting where they don't complete letters, they can be good in tech. Now, if you lose your handwriting, you lose a part of your identity.
So if you copy.
Yes.
So if you could have copied your sister's...
Yes, I would have lost it.
Yeah.
Totally. Because what is language? Language is not words. Language first manifests. Now, as you mature as a teenager, language identity begins to manifest in fashion. It begins to manifest in games. It begins to manifest in different other ways. So teachers used to beat me for my handwriting. Then they used to beat me for talking too much. Because I would ask questions. I was hyper. I remember the first day we went to school, in a school called Gemma in Maroroi. The first day, I knew the chef, the security guard. From class 1 to class 7, everyone knew me. The first day in school. I led prayers on parade that evening. Then when we were going home, my dad asked me, how was your day? Then I began telling him. And he laughed when I was telling him stories. But my sister was angry because she was saying, namwaibisha. Because now every person knew my sister because of me. Because they were like, mbona huyo amenyamaza na huyo anaongea. You see?
Yeah.
So discontentment called me to the place of purpose. Because there was a discontentment in me.
Yeah.
There was a discontentment in terms of, do you know Kajim? 98% of human beings are not in purpose. They're in jobs, but they're not in purpose. And if they're not in purpose, they're behind their seasons. If they're in purpose, they're behind their seasons. And if they're not behind their seasons, they're in misplaced places. Because of this thing about the lack of discontentment, the lack of asking questions. So by the time I'm now growing up, there are radical questions I began asking myself. For example, who defined intelligence? who said that this one will be foolish, this one will be intelligent. Because if I can show you the number of people who are highly successful, you realize that they were probably graded in the wrong way by the academic system. And then there are people who became number one in class, but they lost a certain part of intelligence, because there are like 8 parts of intelligence: relational intelligence, linguistic intelligence, the aspect of mathematical intelligence, logical intelligence, musical intelligence, artistic intelligence. So you might find that there's someone who excelled in academic intelligence, but they lost social intelligence. They don't know how to make friends. That's why when they top your class, akuwa na namba bishte.
Na nanyamaza tu peke yake.
So you find that there are some who are told they are foolish. You failed in KCP, you got less than 400, so you went to a county school. So you lose a part of yourself in the process. Every transition, you lose a part of yourself and you discover a part of yourself. That's what happens. Every transition you go through, whether it's an exam, whether you lose a father, they say that a man changes when 3 things happen to them: when you lose your father, when you get a son, and when you buy your first car. For a woman, 4 things: when you lose your mother, when you get a family, when she heals, and when she's wounded. So it's proper to also discover that in all these stages, it's like a discontentment was burning in me from KCP. I got 323, went back to school, because at this time also my sister had already made me believe that if you get anything less than 400, you're a failure. She got 368 and she cried for 3 days. So I went back to school. When I went back to school, I got 386, was called into an extra county school. And then when I went to this extra county school, it was a school where people used to play a lot of football. And I knew that I've not been called for that. So I had to find a way to leave that school. So I was a bit stubborn, missed classes and all that. So now they ended up releasing me from the school. Then I went to another school. I was there for 3 weeks, but I left with 6 certificates of music festival, public speaking, debates, and very interesting things. I was there for 3 weeks to be specific. Okay. But every weekend I was out on a funky. From the first week I landed in the school. Allah. I went for 4 functions. And there are people who are there till from 4 who had never gone for any function. So my world was moving very swiftly. Like something that people would see they can do in 1 week. In my mind, I used to think, why not 2 hours? So this discontentment was now channeled in different ways. The discontentment now made me write a book at 19. The discontentment made me gather my first time to do an event of 1,000 people was 19, then 3,000 at 19.
Oh, wow.
Yes. The discontentment made me, to some degree, never walk alone. I began by never walking alone. I would go in church and ask myself, why are there empty chairs? A church of 1,000 people has 200 people. And it doesn't disturb them.
They're just contented.
Yes. Why do I have 500 contacts on WhatsApp, but only 20 people are viewing my status? Why do I have 1 million followers and you only have 100 likes? So the one reason why many people never hit greatness, they are not discontented. Why am I buying books and not finishing?
Until you reach to that level.
Yes, of discontentment. So this discontentment started as a child. Then it piled up. Then the anger was channeled as passion. You know, people say passion is doing what you like. But passion is defined as, passion is what offends you or excites you. Whatever offends you can be your passion. There are people who are offended with why marriages are breaking. Yeah. That's your passion.
Yeah.
There are people who are offended when they see street kids. You get offended. You are like, no, this should not be the case. So like, I used to be offended when I'm seeing people not able to communicate. I went and studied statistics and it shows that every day in Kenya, we lose 17 billion because of lack of confidence in people. Every day. Can you imagine? This show called Kajim is here because of confidence. If you lacked confidence to even stand before a camera, let me show you how this confidence has worked. For you to go into media and to be given the job. For you to become an MC. For you to approach people and boldly share your vision.
Yes.
And for them to support you and channel the resources.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Kajim, if you lacked that confidence, we will never be here. It's that powerful.
Come to think of it.
It's that powerful. Like everything is tied to that. So meaning, in your childhood, of all the things, the most important thing was confidence. And what the devil does, he attacks you at the thing you need most. Because David is supposed to deliver a nation, his attack was on isolation. He was isolated from people. If you are a people's person, the devil will ensure you don't meet people. Abraham is a father of many nations, but he's barren. Moses is supposed to defend people, but he's a stammerer. So he attacks you at the thing you need most. So let's say if you've been called into the place of wealth, he'll ensure you stay in a poor family, you are stripped of dignity, and poverty gets in your mind, gets in your soul. Poverty becomes a concept. Such that even if you have money, you'll still have a scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
Because money is not the presence of it. Money is the mindset of it. You can have money, but you lack the mindset called wealth. Because wealth is not money. It's not paper. You can find someone who... Have you ever met people who lived in the UK, in diaspora, years ago, then they came back in Kenya?
Yeah.
And then have you ever seen a Kenyan who has been in UK for 2 months? You realize when they talk, someone who has been in UK, then they left 10 years ago, there's a way they still talk. And someone who has been in Kenya, then they went there for 2 months, even if they try to fake, they can't talk a certain way.
Yeah.
So meaning, exposure is not allocation. They say that you can remove a man from the village, but you can't remove the village from the man.
Yeah.
So wealth is not the substance of it. You can have money, but you don't have the mindset that comes with money. Also, greatness is a mindset. You can sit around a great person, but you don't have the greatness in you. So everything is around a mindset. So what the devil attacks, he attacks the soul. He attacks the mindset behind greatness. The devil does not fear if you have 1 billion in your account, but you still have a poverty mindset.
You still see that nikitoa hii
You still have that mindset for scarcity, because you'll still behave like that and all that. So he attacks the atmosphere. So the thing that fueled to answer that question is discontentment.
Wow.
It's still there till today.
Many leaders focus locally, but you've chosen to think and act globally. What does thinking beyond borders mean to you at a personal level?
So number one, the whole thing about thinking locally, it comes from a place in terms of the mindset. The fact that we grew up seeing maps, it already placed a map in our mind subconsciously. So this map tells you that you're only supposed to hit certain borders. I have a mentor called Giorgio Moraro. So one day we met in Uganda. Then he asked me, how many people do you want to impact in the next 10 years? And maybe I can ask you the same question. If you were to give me a number, how many do you want to impact in the next 10 years?
The next 10 years? Maybe 1 million?
1 million. So I told him 10 million. Then he asked me, how many people does Kenya have? I said 46 million. He asked me, how many people does Nairobi County have? I said 15 million. Then he told me, then you don't need the world. Just focus on Nairobi.
Mimi ni wawad.
So he told me, just focus on Nairobi.
Yes.
He told me you don't even need to travel. Just focus on Nairobi. You don't even need God. You
know Ruiru as a word or a constituency is now that average number.
So he told me just focus on Nairobi. You don't even need people. You said even you don't need me. You don't need mentorship. Just focus on Nairobi. That one is very practical. So the whole thing about thinking local and thinking global, where it comes from. The world has 8 billion people. So 1 billion is not even 1%. It's not even 0.1%. So it means that you're not even focused on 0.1% of the world. It means that you're maybe probably 0.0001. Yeah. So he told me even that one you don't need mentorship. He told me just produce content consistently for these 10 years and then you'll hit the 1 million people. And then now it begged the question, what influences people to think globally? Global. There are some it's because of maybe they want to prove a point. There are some maybe it's because of they think they'll get more money. Let me say this. Not all of us have actually been called to go outside. There are people who their purpose is in Kenya. Like personally for me, I've never admired living outside the country. I want to impact, but come back to Kenya. But there's someone who their purpose is out there. Yeah. So there are some of us who are crisscrossing different parts. This thing comes from a burden, number one. It comes from a burden. I have a burden for nations. Ask of me and I'll give you the nations. Yeah. Why do I have a burden for nations? I studied about nations. I look at the way people are dying in South Sudan. I look at what is happening in Somalia. I look at what is happening in South Africa. So it's coming from the understanding that if no one arises, then many people will die. It's coming from a place of burden. Do you know, Kajim, there are nights I would even wake up and cry because of a nation I've never been to, Rwanda. I would look at the way people are timid. People have gone through childhood trauma with the genocide that happened.
Yeah.
People are not able to express themselves. I would look at countries like Uganda, the way probably the systems have affected them. There's a way people are not able to hit a certain peak. I would look at a country like South Africa from the historical injustices that happened that have affected them till today. So I can say, number one, it came from a place of burden. The burden of understanding that unless I become big, I cannot impact certain groups of people. You see, this burden is also limited in terms of time. We only have maybe, let's say, on average, 70 years on Earth. And actually, right now, the lifespan has reduced to 55. So 55, and then we look at it from an angle of 24 hours. 24 hours, remember, out of 55, you spent 30 years of your life in the school system and learning. You begin to create wealth after, now according to the human thinking, you begin to create wealth after 30. And actually, people say life begins at 40. So the average age for creating wealth in Africa is 40. The average wealth for creating wealth in European countries is 30. That's in developed nations. So that means that already we're in a race of time. Then we're in a race of quantum leaps. That for me to reach out now to, my target right now is I just want to impact 1 billion people across the world. That's through content and also speaking one-on-one through books. So one has to multiply themselves, the means and the method of reaching out to these people. When you read a book called 4DX, the 4 disciplines of execution, they talk about something called lacks and leads. Lacks are the things you need to do to be able to hit the leads. For example, if I want to impact 100 people in a day, lacks means that I'll go on TikTok and I'll tell myself I'll go on TikTok for 1 hour. Then leads, I want to hit 1,000 people live, then I impact 100 people. So lacks and leads. So when you look at the lacks and leads now of your life as Kajim, you'll realize that as Kajim, you want to reach out to maybe, let's say, 100 million people in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So lacks means this podcast has to hit 1 million subscribers in the next 2 years. The other lacks, it means that as Kajim, you'll need resources. So it means you'll need to hire top talent people and no negotiation on that. You'll need a team of like, let's say 30 people for setup and set down. That means you'll need to cover 100 high schools. And you'll need to cover at least 30 universities. You'll need to cover at least 6 counties. That means you need networks with about 6 governors at a personal level where you laugh with them and you joke with them. That means you'll need to know how to play golf. That means you'll need to have a good house where you can host them for dinner. That means you'll need a good car and you'll need a driver. And not just 1 car, you'll need like 3 cars. That means your wife must be at peace. So you need stability to study more even about marriage in order for your wife to be at peace so that she can give you more time to do what you need to do. That means your children need to go to a good school and the school should be closer from where you stay. So that means you need to stay in a good estate. We are still looking at how you'll get to these 100 million people, but the lakhs price is heavy. So for you to get to these people, there's a price that must be paid. That means you need a chef, because that means the 2 hours that will be taken by your wife in the kitchen, those 2 hours you should have personal time with her. So someone else should compensate for that 2 hours. Someone said if you're still working, if you're still using time to get money, then you're poor. So that means you must be able to buy out time. So the time I used to drive, I remember one day I drove a whole day. I was with Rogers, the guy who helps us in the Speak Academy. And Rogers told me, we've lost so much today. Because after we finished driving, I told Rogers, give me 30 minutes. You see how much you can make in 30 minutes. And I began calling people who had reached out to me on TikTok, calling them back just to, hear what they wanted. And then I remember we had gone for an event at Sitamati River and people had bought my books, 45 people. I called them one by one, calling to say thank you. By the time we were finishing the conversation, within like 30 minutes to an hour, I had made 250 Gs.
What?
So I told Rogers, why I don't drive. Because Rogers was asking me, you've been having a car for 2 years, but you don't drive. Why? I told him it's not about driving, it's about the time. Because in those 2 hours, I can do so much because I've worked on myself that my time is highly valuable. Let me explain. If you use a knife to cut a tree, you might take like around maybe 2 days. If you use a power saw, you might take like 20 minutes. Because for a knife, it's effortless to make it. They can make it, but it won't take a lot of time. For a power saw, they have to combine, assemble everything. It will take them like around 6 hours to 8 hours of assembling. But by the time they're done, it takes 20 minutes. Now, there's a level you can rise where your time has quality. That you don't need 2 hours with someone. You need only 30 minutes because you've compiled a lot of quality. A lot of quality. Now, with that thinking, it transfers to the global thinking. That when you begin to think from an angle of burdens, from an angle of assignment, you'll not help it. You'll begin to see life beyond the map that you saw when you were a child. Because that thing for maps, you were showed the map so that you can be customized to think Kenyan. You can be customized to think.
These are your borders.
Yes, the borders.
These are your borders.
So even our political parties
Yeah.
are in borders. Our TV stations are in borders. Our newspapers are in borders. So you realize until you break the border mentality.
Yes.
And the border mentality comes from a micro perspective of thinking, where you lack a burden for nations. That's why even our companies, you ask people, how many people do you want to employ? They tell you just 10. Because we are thinking food. We're thinking food. We're thinking food. We want to put food on the table. You see, because there are 3 kinds of people. There's the first person who is thinking food and rent. Food, rent, and a good house. There's a second person who is thinking family. They want to build for their mother a house. And that's the person we call successful in Africa. There's the person who is thinking the world. Now, by result of thinking the world, you see, David thought of killing Goliath. By the virtue of killing Goliath, his family was exempted from paying taxes.
Exactly.
And he had a room in State House. The Bible says David had a seat in the palace. The day
By
Saul wanted
just
to kill
thinking.
him. Yes, because he thought of killing Goliath. It came with everything else. So it's either you are running for the nest or for the tree. But many don't think even of the nest. Many think of the fruit. Then some think of the nest. But there are some who run for the tree. But for the tree, you must have the burden. You must have the capacity. You must be willing to run away from the fruit and go for the tree. Because it's easy to go for the fruit. Your family will tell you go for the fruit. You'll find some of the young people you've been having here. When they met you at first, if you ask them, even some of them, maybe their fathers told them what you're doing does not make sense. What is content creation? And then they're there, mazi mtu anapewa salary ya 10k ama 15k, mother yake ako like, atuko na Kajim, mentorship. But do you know, the greatest thing that rich people give you is not money, it's perspective. Perspective is expensive. It can take you 60 years to know that a tomato can be tomato juice. Mm-hmm. Until you meet someone who can show you that it can be tomato juice. And every day you can be using that tomato. So there's a way in which understanding these things is very key. So this is where after I began to get burdens, the global thinking came. The global thinking came. I stopped thinking Kenya. I broke the boundaries. But that now had to challenge all my childhood trauma issues. Because as a child, because of competition and comparison, we love ownership. We want to say, this is I speak, it's my company.
My.
So, me going global meant that I release I speak. That I can no longer run it. That I must be comfortable not being in the office and I know people will still work. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. I must be comfortable to be driven by a driver. And yet I can drive.
So that's a local.
Yes, it's a
local
mentality.
mindset.
And the local mindset comes from now an angle of selfishness, which creates ownership. For
Nitaibiwa.
example, yes, as a child, kulikuwa na sahani yangu.
Yes.
Kikombe yangu. It starts as a child. So it graduates into companies. Now it means that you'll handle everything. Like you'll handle everything.
You're the HR.
I remember last week, God just told me, I wanted to release the M-Pesa till for I speak. you'll not be checking the M-Pesa till. And it's not easy. Mpaka sahi namuuliza sasa uko serious ile story ama umechange mind. Because there are things I'm used to. I'm used to ensuring that I manage things. And there's a way in which it comes from a place of trust, wounded trust. It also comes from a place, there are people, I have one of my friends, he told me that the first time he handled 10 million, he never took it to the bank. He slept with it. He used to look at it every day. Because you can come from a place of lack, which you now love ownership. You don't know structure, you don't know delegation, you don't know teams. You can't trust people who are more intelligent than you. So the global thinking, it tested everything that was in me, every fear that was in me. Yes, the fear that this thing can be taken away. Yeah.
At that point, can you tell us more about what do you think about our academic system?
Our academic system.
And what it has done to us?
That one now has had it has had a ripple effect. Now, when you study the 844 system, number one, it teaches you that it will take time to understand. Let me explain. It will teach you that, you see, a book is 75 pages, but you study it the whole term, the whole year. How will you ever finish a book that's 200 pages, a business book, in 1 week? Yeah. So there are triple lessons, double lessons. But then there's a mindset that we will have the whole year. So it teaches you to be slow by default. So as an entrepreneur, you can't imagine calling 100 people in a day. You can't imagine making 10 million in 24 hours. Because the education system has taught you to be slow. There's preps. Do you know preps was a thing for the people who used to work in colonial farms? They're the ones who used to wake up for preps. So it was just transferred. The same thing that used to happen with the slaves was now transferred in the education system. Even how we sit in class, rows and columns, that's how slaves used to line up.
What?
So like, number one, it teaches you to be slow. Number two, it teaches you to be timid. Because now when you go to international schools, teachers don't stand. Teachers sit. So it teaches you that a teacher is your friend and you can contribute in this conversation. You can teach a teacher. But now in this other system, the teacher stands. So it teaches you
superior.
that you don't know. So wait for your boss to give a solution. So in the corporate world, you'll never give a solution until your boss comes. So if the teacher is standing and the rest of you are seated, so that's how it works. Then it teaches you that you can't have memory. You must write everything. When you go to something called superior curriculums, when you go to countries like the UK, they have something called superior curriculums. So superior curriculums are things like where you are taught about how to smell. Do you know how many people have died because they did not know there's poison in a room? Some of us have a very low intelligence when it comes to smell. We can't sense a scent. And do you know that remembering a scent of a person is showing them that you value them?
Yeah.
So there's something called superior curriculums where you're taught things like greeting, scents, how to discern colors. So you realize that our education system does not focus on that. We focus on the basic things.
Yeah.
How will parts of an insect help a content creator? You get? So it also teaches us how to focus on things that maybe might not be necessary. And that's why at home we have clothes that we don't use.
It spills all over.
It spills all over. Tuneka mkebe ya roiko. Every home wanekanga chumvi kwa mkebe ya roiko. You get?
What is that?
It's because the education system teaches you that you use different subjects, different books, different subjects. Na hata watu malizi pages. Watu wengi wajazi diary. Unabai mwaka ingine ikifika unatumia ile diary ya kitambo. Unabai diary ingine. So you find that it's also a culture of wastage.
Yeah.
It's a culture of wastage. It teaches you that you can't compress. You must acquire many things. You must acquire many
possessions. Kuna food hapa na imepangwa line.
Yes.
But unaweka kila kitu.
Yes, and then it teaches you sasa hiyo part ya now attachment. You'll find kila nyumba wanaekanga toothbrush kwa mkebe ya yogurt. It's so subconscious. Like no one tells you don't do it. Everyone just does. It's like a programming. So this programming spills all over. You'll keep things that you don't need. You have contacts that you don't need. I met someone who has 6 contacts. He's a billionaire.
6 contacts?
He only has 6 contacts. So I asked him, why do you have 6 contacts? He says, unless I really need to talk to you every now and then, my PA can handle your contacts. For me, I have these 6 contacts, and I know everything about them. I know how their day goes, and I keep these relationships. Then he has another 4 now that he has like 20 contacts. Those are business people. So these 6 contacts are friends. Then there's a one for business people. Then he has another one for family. They told me the others, my PA will handle. Unless you've really grown to the level where you can enter in this 20 or enter in this 6 or family, then
So
he says,
talk-
because he
talk-
says, I have limited time and I want to impact the few relationships I have. So I don't need 1,000 contacts for what?
So how many contacts do you have?
For me as Benny,
Yes.
I've been reducing them. So like the ones I have many contacts, but there's a list I have of like 60 people. So these 60 people, I know details about them.
I hope I'm one of them.
So these 60 people, what happens? So there's something called purpose, project, personality. So I've divided in 3. So there are people I relate because of personality. They are funny, they're interesting, they make me think deep. Then project. These are people who I'm working on something with them for the next like 1 year. Then now there's purpose. So the people are attached to my purpose. So you must be able, the intentionality reduces time. So you'll not waste time in an unnecessary conversation. You see, Kajim, if you knew when you will die, you'll work differently. If you just knew that you don't have time in this world, if you also knew the size of your vision, there are things you'll not celebrate about. $1 million to someone who doesn't have a vision is a lot of money. But when you've counted the cost of your vision and you know it's like $7 billion for the next 10 years, even when you get $1 million, you'll not be in a place where you'll be like, wow. So I can say also counting the cost contributes in all these conversations. But you see, the education system does not teach us how to count the cost. It puts us at a place where you already know how your life will go. You'll go to class 8, pass, go to Form 4, get a B plus or a C plus, go to university. First year, pigwa maheartbreak na madem. Second year, bet, fanya tu vitu za ajabu, hata madaru. Then third year, fourth year, start focusing. Then kama miaka 5 bila job. Then from there, tafuta wife church. Pateni watu wawili watatu, wapeleke private school. Mtafute keja, 3-bedroom mansion. Kweni na KTX, alafu kagari kingine kadogo ka wife. And then, endeni church fiti, pasi ya kujue, kuwa na nyumba ocha, then kuwa na iPhone na utravel maju. Unangoja sa kufa. So like it's already programmed.
You already know your next move.
Like a system, you know it. So like right now utapata in Kenya, the typical person is already saving either do ya plot, either do ya kujenga. So hadi ukiangalia prayer items mob church, it can be summarized in 4 things. Kujenga, aka, school fees for children, ikienda sana promotion ya job. So you find that the education system also kills something called the seed of greatness, where the best you can ever become is to be a top performing employee.
Wow.
We are not taught how to be founders. We are not taught how to. And the fact that nyote mnakontroliwa na kengele, that hauwezi enda kukula kama unasikia njaa. You must wait for the bell to ring. So that means
ni saa 7 na sijakula.
Yeah, that means you're not decisive. Who decides even the time you eat? Who decides the time you go to the washroom? So you realize that if those small things are transferred, you develop now something called an employee mindset. So an employee mindset means that now when you get to higher realms of greatness, you are timid or rather unfamiliar to it. Yeah.
What personal branding strategies have worked for you in positioning yourself as a global leader?
There are some that I'm testing. There are some that have worked. There are some that I'm testing. But I can say I take TikTok seriously. Yeah. I take TikTok seriously and I deliberately study people. I deliberately study people and I don't study at what is Kajim doing. I study what is Kajim not doing.
Yeah. That's different.
Yes. So like every time I study highly successful people, like I don't study what they are doing. I study what they are not doing. What could they have been? So that makes me think in depth. I have something called prototypes. When you come at my office at home, I have a wall where I have put prototypes. Prototypes are people who they have a part of them is in
you.
So for example, I have people like Joshua Selman, Femi Lazarus, Pastor T, Julian Kula, Apostle Isi, Jordan Peterson, just to mention but a few. I have like 16 prototypes. So these prototypes are people who I study their lives keenly, and then I write down every part that has formed them. I study whom they marry, where they went to school, where their children study, where the offices are. I observe them intentionally. Like PLO Lumumba, I'll observe their dressing. I'll observe the executive assistant. All those things. Then I break down these prototypes. And then I ask myself, which part do I have? Which part is in them that I also have? Then I tick it and star it. Then I ask myself, for each prototype, what makes me different from them? Then once I'm done, I now take time and ask God, so what's my template? What am I bringing that's new? Every day, and I keep asking people this question, what's your alpha plus X? Alpha plus X means that one thing that only you are bringing in this world. Only you. That if you are to search all over this world, you can't find it elsewhere. So for that one, to some degree, remember, God is the chief branding strategist. He built the whole world in 7 days. He's the chief branding strategist. He taught Noah brand marketing, that animals entered the ark without being called. He's a chief brand strategist. He never needed to create many human beings. He only created one human being, and then he prototyped the rest.
Eish.
So he created a system. He's a god of sustainability. He's never created trees again. He created them once. So he's a chief branding strategist. He's the one who knows brand visibility. He knows brand visibility, that Jesus spoke to 5,000 people for 3 days back to back, and they never stopped listening to him. He's a chief branding strategist, that he spoke without a microphone, but they still heard him. So unless you spend time with the chief branding strategist, who is God, he can teach you. Branding is in the Bible. For example, Jesus went during the triumphant entry with a donkey. That's branding. He made noise until the authorities thought it was a politician. Jesus is a branding strategist. The first miracle, he turned water into wine in a social gathering. He knew how to attract attention. Those days he could have gotten likes. Jesus was the man with the highest influence. He had 12 followers, even before Instagram came.
Eish.
So you realize, when you spend time with the chief branding strategist, he will teach you. He will teach you.
Even your next move.
David, he never needed to kill Goliath with 5 stones. Only 1 stone, precision. He never needed to record 16 videos to hit. Only 1. So precision of a performer.
Hey, Benny. You've just been on I think you've just kicked your world tour.
Yes.
And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, sir.
Looking back at where we were,
Yes.
what you are doing.
Yes.
And I think one thing that I love about you is the way you keep on mentioning about ask for the nations.
Yes.
And God will give you. So recently, I think I am honored to be hosting you for the first time.
Thank you.
After your world tour.
Yes.
But you started in Nigeria.
Yes.
Tell us about Nigeria.
Nigeria was very interesting. It really challenged me. When I was 16, I met 17. I went on Instagram and I met a guy called Jojo Moraro, the guy I've told you.
Yeah.
Now, this time I'm 17, I'm under the mentorship of a guy called Brian Mwao. Brian Mwao was working for Centum. You need to bring him on this set one day.
Please.
Brian Mwao is a guy who went to see Chris Kirubi in his place. He had not booked an appointment. He went in the house of Chris Kirubi and knocked.
You will facilitate.
Yes.
He need to be
Get
seated
counted
there.
done. He will come.
Thank you.
So Brian Moore was mentoring me, and now one of the things I used to do with my mentors, even till today I do now, anytime I admire anyone Kajim, I go and check everyone they follow. For example, if right now Kajim, I begin studying you, I'll go and check every person you follow on Instagram and why do you follow them. So that's another hack I do. In a way to study great people, I check everyone they follow. Because anyone with genuine greatness, sometimes might not follow everyone. Because it's how greatness also works. One day I'll come and we'll talk about distinction in greatness.
Yeah.
One of the things with great people, you'll realize that on Instagram, they maybe follow like 10 people. Because it's something they don't want to lose. Because every time you follow someone, you press the follow button, it means that you have accepted to be attuned to their personality and their identity. So you might lose yourself in the process. So I don't follow anyone until I subscribe to their identity. It's not just about following, it's so spiritual.
That's deep.
Yes.
That's deep.
So like, I studied everyone they follow. So in the process of studying who Brian Moore has followed, I saw the guy who does kaftans for him. He's called Bankole Thomas, what I'm wearing now. So I followed Bankole Thomas. Bankole Thomas does kaftans for the presidents of different nations, like about 12 in Africa.
Yeah.
Now, when I followed Bankole, I saw there's a guy Bankole hangs around called George. So I began to study George. Now, one day, I DM'd George and I told him I have an idea for him. Then we began talking and I told him the way I look up to him, blah, blah, blah. Then we began talking. And then one day, George told me he wants to open a company in Kenya. And he asked me, do you have an idea of how the Kenyan market looks like? Remember, I'm 17. I said, yes, I have a presentation. So George sends his PA. Now, one thing about great people, when they want to taste whether you are worth their time, they can send their PA to talk to you. So he sends the PA. The PA was called Pelumi Fediaro. So Pelumi comes on Google Meet. Now, I had just finished high school and I did not have a good phone. And so Brian had gifted me a certain phone, but the phone, you couldn't switch on the camera. So you could only put audio. So when I talked to Pelumi, I told Pelumi about the Kenyan market, which are the Fortune 500 companies. Safaricom, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, some of the companies that are in Kenya that are doing well. I told her about the CEOs, told her about billboards. How much do they charge in terms of billboards in Kenya? So Pelumi found that very interesting. The meeting was supposed to be 25 minutes, but I talked to Pelumi for 1 hour, 12 minutes.
Where did you get the information at the age of 17?
So what used to happen, I used to study a lot of Forbes report, and then top 20 under, top 20, top 30 under 30, top 40 under 40. So I used to check who has been mentioned in top 40 under 40 this year. Then I used to also study global reports, a lot of them, and also the United Nations report, World Bank report, a lot of just data and random things. And then I used to read a lot of newspapers. So I knew a lot of things. Like I knew the CEO of Safaricom, the CEO of Airtel, the CEO, all the top companies. And it's an assignment that I give all my mentees. Go and know who are the CEOs of top 100 companies in Kenya. Know their faces. You can meet them in an elevator, but because you don't know them, you'll not know how to handle them. Because you only handle what you know. What you don't know, you'll never handle it well. So at this moment, when I did that presentation, he called chairman. He said, Chairman, you must meet this young man. So when I met chairman asked me, why is your camera off? I said, I lost my phone, and the phone I have right now cannot put video. He asked me a very simple question. He asked me, which phone was it? Then I told him a Samsung U32. He said, okay, I'm in America, you'll have it by tomorrow.
Wow.
So I got it. So number one, Nigeria sowed a seed of greatness in me. Because when I was 17, I used to meet so many people and give them ideas, and they could not take me seriously. I could go in church and look at someone and tell them, why don't you do this? They listen to me, they tell me, uko na mambo mingi kijana, then they leave me. But for the first time, I found someone who listened to me. Of course, he never opened the company in Kenya because I was 17. He couldn't entrust me to run it. But just because of that audacity, he bought me a phone. When I caught that phone in my hands, from that day, I saw myself differently. So I had a covenant with Nigeria from that time. Wow. Then I began listening to Joshua Salman. So for me, going to Nigeria was so personal. It was not just a trip.
Was it your first time?
Yes.
Oh.
It was my first time, but what has happened, it looks like I've been going there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I even saw you going to another church.
Yes, yes.
Pia nikakuona Koinonia.
Yes. So like I went to various places. I met Joshua Selman. I met a guy called Dr. Linus Okorie. I met Choco Gabriel. I met Bankole. I went to now Giorgio Moraro. Now his company has grown so much.
You met?
Yes. I went to Rage Media Center. He's a guy you also need to meet. He has the biggest storytelling company in Africa. He tells stories for political campaigns.
Now that one you'll have to take.
I'll facilitate. So I went to their center. So you see like the way there is this Kajim hub, media hub.
Yeah.
So they have a media hub. Like it's a whole building for storytelling.
Oh, that's now
they have employed like
that's now my line.
Yes,
that's now my
that's
line.
like your line. So when I went there, I wanted to see the center. I wanted to see the center. Now the guy who asked me how many people you want to impact was George. So now he was telling me a story of how he was able to mobilize resources and all that. So when I went to Nigeria, it was so personal. Like it was just a trip. And then I got to see George, and then he showed me the place, the things they were doing, spent some time with Bankole. I also went to an organization called Elevate Africa. Elevate Africa is an organization that pushes Afrocentric conversations. It's being run by the Queen in Nigeria. So I just visited the place. Like on Instagram, I follow them. Now, do you see the thing about mastering names and pictures? I was just passing by a road, then I saw their logo. Then I told the driver, stop. I want to go to this place. I don't know anyone. Then when I went there, we knocked. Then I told them, Elevate Africa, I've been following you. I saw your event with Davido. When Davido was a speaker, then Davido knelt down. I saw the Queen, I saw Vusi, I saw this, and they were just impressed by that.
Wow.
Then they called the videographer to the Queen. When I told him that, remember the videographer is the one who takes all these videos. He was happy because I recognized his work and I honored his work and I remembered all details. He said, I want you to meet the Queen. So I've now been invited in Botswana to meet the Queen in Botswana.
Wow.
They'll be having an Africa conference from 30th to 31st. So like, just about also being bold. Like
So courage made you now to even...
That audacity. And then also the place of instruction, because I also will be speaking in Koinonia, November, from 19th to 23rd, there'll be a conference there. And Apostle Joshua Selman invited me to share my story for 10 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations. Yes, what one thing did you learn from Nigeria, and especially with leaders? Because Nigeria, they have a lot of respect. Doesn't matter who. But there is a language that even when you listen to someone like Joshua Selman, there is a language of yes, sir. There is a language that they speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Nigeria, it's either you are poor or rich.
There's no middle class.
You see, Nigeria, number one, they're 200 million. So the level of competition is a bit high. Like in Nigeria, if you have 1,000-seater church, that's a very small church. In Kenya, that's a mega church. There it's not a mega church. So in Nigeria, especially now if you're in Abuja, like now you see Joshua Selman is in Abuja, Orokpo is in Abuja, Femi Lazarus is in Abuja. So I was being told, like, in Abuja, if you don't have revelation, can you imagine Joshua Selman being your neighbor? Church. You see, now if you don't have that revelation and that true anointing and the calling, you can't survive. So Nigeria is in a place where there's a height they have reached. So in Nigeria, it's both extremes. Either you're into deep witchcraft, or if you're looking for God, you're looking for God, and it's not a joke. So one of the things I saw in Nigeria is that it's either you're doing something or you're not doing it. And if you're doing it so well. If you find a photographer in Nigeria, the truth is that person is a photographer.
Even actors.
Yes, by the time you're being told this person is a photographer,
you've seen.
They have worked on themselves. The person knows about the history of Canon. They know about the history of Nikon. So one of the things I saw about them is intensity. They are very intense. They are very intense. Even from their food, the fact that food here ikona pili mob, it's intensity. This thing is so psychological.
And their language, because they
have also mastered honor.
Yeah.
Big time.
Even Bishop Oyedepo, and you can even listen. This is a
And
great man, but even the language.
That honor is coming from intensity, because they don't believe in neutrality of relationships. Proverbs 23:21 says that. Do not be partial about anything. There's a level where you can be partial with people. Being partial with people, it means that if I meet you, Kajim, you can't remember me and I did not also offend you. I was just nice. It means you're partial. You are not really interesting. Yani uko tu katikati.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things I saw is that they're not partial on anything. Because partiality is a disease. Partiality is a disease. It means that now that, like that thing I've told you, you have 1,000 contacts, but you don't know anyone's birthday. You've never celebrated anyone. You've never attended any funeral. You've never invested in anything. Yani, that's called partiality. Where you're partial with everyone. You don't have anyone that you've impacted massively.
Yes.
Every person, you've just met them on neutral ground. Yeah.
Now, Ben, you are not just building a brand. Yes. You are building influence. And I thank God for what happened in Nigeria. What's the core message you want people to carry with them after interacting with you?
My goal has always been one, that the idea of Jesus that people have needs to change. Any person I meet will always notice that there's a way I am with scriptures. And I don't just want it to be a mere talk. I want to carry results for it. I want either anytime I encounter someone, let them never see God the same way, and not just being inspired. I want people to understand the kingship of God in terms of influence, in terms of creativity, in terms of business. Our idea of power is very limited. We see power in terms of the blind being healed, the dead being raised. It's good. But there's a level of power that God can give you influence in a territory. There's a level of power that God can give you the ability to compel. Can you imagine that Jesus is talking to Zacchaeus and Zacchaeus returns all property? Can you imagine that if you had power to talk to a Kenyan politician, arudishe kila kitu ameiba? That's a level of power. It's called anakazo. Anakazo is called the compelling power. But even as a moderator, if you're emceeing an event, you have a compelling power. So like my one thing has always been that I want people to see Jesus differently. The Jesus that they have been sold to, there might not be an accurate way that they were introduced to that Jesus. There are many people who are still suffering in poverty, suffering in fear, trauma. Anytime a man encounters me, I want them to go back to their Bible.
Wow.
I want them to go back and study it, but now study it differently. That's my goal. Yeah.
Many people admire your global footprint.
Yes.
What are maybe the disciplines, if you don't mind, or the mindset that you have,
For
maybe
example,
that keeps you going?
Food. I eat food 1 meal a day. And it's something now that I've been doing now for 2 years. So there are disciplines that come with it. I'll be vulnerable. When you begin to travel globally, this one was taught by Pastor T. You're not just moving in countries, you're moving in territories, the spiritual realm. And territories might not just accept you. Territories can fight you. There are countries I've gone to, and because of lacking spiritual understanding, I arrived in that country and I just began eating. And either I did not achieve purpose, either I met people, either there were wasted opportunities. So I began now to be disciplined spiritually. For influence to be maintained, there are disciplines you must meet in Christ. Both in Christ and then you as a person. So for example, alertness. Like that day when I went to that church, I had not eaten in the morning. I woke up in the morning and I had begun my first day of fasting for 90 days. So it was day 1 of 90. Then I just went to this church and I met Femi Lazarus and he interviewed me on podcast. And then the next day I went to Apostle Joshua Salman in Koinonia. Again, there are things I had to sacrifice. And when I was in Nigeria, it's so that I was staying in a cheap hotel. I had gone to train a leader of a nation, the wife of a deputy president of a country. I was in the top hotels in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I remember even when I told one of the people I went to see in Nigeria was like, how are you paying for that place? I was in a place where food is being served 4 times a day and they're bringing in your room. And do you know what it means to say no to good food? Just food, it's not easy. There's food, there's massage, all that has been paid for in that room. And you abuse those comforts. And there are days when I was there, I could sit and pray and read while good food is being served. It's not easy to run away from the comforts of life. There's a place also where you can be addicted to yourself. I deliberately stay away from, when you check me, I don't respond to comments. Not because I'm arrogant. It's because there's a level where you can be addicted to those comments. There's a level where you can begin thinking, wow, I have influence. And from that day, you stop growing. So I've also put myself at a place where there's no early arrival mentality. As I'm navigating nations, it would interest you to know that I've put all the money in my organization. Maybe these are stories that people don't say. I've put all money in my organization. And right now in my house, I only have 1 chair for the studio. I'm spending 350,000 to travel to the UK to go and do what I need to do. I would have bought a nice sofa. I've spent now 2.8 million to build I Speak, to buy the printing machine, to ensure the center is set up. I'm young, 23, I could have bought a TX. There are things I've sacrificed, There are things I've also sacrificed in terms of mindset, deliberately, to hit a certain scope. This is a wooden watch. Just because of a wooden watch, there are times when leaders look at me, that's where they'll start with the conversation. Deliberately wearing customized clothes. So I've also known the things I'm supposed to invest in, and I don't negotiate on those things. The quality of the videos. So also you must count the cost and be ready to pay the price for destiny, both spiritually, but also financially. As I've told you that I only have one chair in my sitting room for the studio because I go live on TikTok. I spend 30,000 every week on books. So it's also about priority. You must also understand wealth, and you must be secure from within. Because someone else, because of insecurity, would want to buy chairs to please people, would want to buy a dining set to please people. But you see, for me, there are things I've prioritized for now because I know what matters for now. Yeah. And I'm ready to pay that price. Those things, the comforts of life, I'll buy them in 24 hours. Once all this is done, I'll buy them in 24 hours. I'll have all that.
Wow.
So I've decided to move like a roundabout. Instead of going for the cup, I'm going to sacrifice to buy the thermos so that whenever I buy the cup, it will be at once. Yeah.
Leadership sometimes can be lonely at the top.
Yes.
Who or what inspires you or what keeps you going?
So the world says leadership is lonely. There's a difference between being alone and lonely. Being alone is a physical state. Being lonely is a spiritual state. When we are with the Holy Spirit, we are not lonely. We are alone. There's a song called "We Are Not Alone." I'll put it for you after here. When you're with the Holy Spirit, is your friend. Now, I was taught this by a friend of mine. I'll also want you to interview him. All these people I've mentioned, please follow up. He's called David King.
Yeah.
David King taught me how to talk to Jesus as my friend. David King was struggling with drugs.
David King, is it the one Hope FM?
Yes.
Yeah.
So David King was struggling with a lot of masturbation, drugs. When he gave his life to Christ, he still struggled. So one night I had gone to visit him. Then he told me a story of Ephesians 2:10. Ephesians chapter 2 from verse 1. Where the Bible says, "And God has loved us richly in mercy." And then he said that when he read that scripture, it showed him how God loves him. And then he began to talk to God as a best friend. When he told me that story, I remember I cried. Even till now, when I'm speaking that, there's an atmosphere that always comes in the room. He told me of how you can talk to Jesus as your friend. Now, at that time, when I was with David King, I remember I was staying in a place called Jam Park. And in Jam Park, sometimes I would get attacks at night. I would get attacks at night. I would not even sleep. Get attacks in terms of sexual addiction. I would not even sleep at night. I would drive out at night and go look for a prostitute. When he told me that story healed me instantly that night. And then he told me, anytime you ever feel like it's at night and you can't sleep, because I used to get a lot of attacks, and I would also eat my nails. Something that I struggled a lot because of childhood trauma. Maybe one day I'll come and share with you also the things I've gone through as a child to even get here.
Yeah.
He told me, anytime you ever feel like you're getting sexual urges at night, just talk to Jesus as your friend. He told me, talk to him as your brother. So from that day, I began talking to Jesus. I would even tell him, hey, I'm hungry. And then someone calls me and says, Benny, twende lunch. Like very small things. Like there's a day I told Jesus, wake me up at 5 a.m. I was tired. And I just come home at 2 a.m. and I have a meeting at 5:30. And I told Jesus, wake me up at 5.
He's your friend.
Yes. And that day, I woke up at 5 sharp without an alarm. There's a day I even told Jesus, teach me what I should wear. Then I dressed up a brown suit, brown shoes. I went for a meeting and I met a certain lady, a CEO. She had brown shoes, brown suit, and a blue accessory, and I had a blue shirt. And she said, just because you're dressed up the same way, I'll give you a meeting next week. So I've learned how to relate with Jesus even in content. I always ask Jesus, what do you want me to say in a video? Then he tells me today you'll say this. And then I say it.
Oh.
So I got to a place now where I began seeing Jesus as a friend. The song that says, Jesus draws me close. So there's a place where I learned how to draw him close. So how do I manage that state of being lonely? One is by being a friend to Jesus. Two, I've learned to find hobbies that can take me to deeper places when I'm alone. Like right now, I'm in violin classes and piano. I love worship. So when I'm alone in the house, I worship most of the time. I sing when I'm just alone, and I'll play instruments. Then three, I have a structure of friends. I have friends, about 4 of them. I have Teddy, there's Brown. So these guys, we meet to now like Brown Brown has read a lot. He has read the Bible like 8 times and finished. So when I meet Brown, we can have a 4-hour conversation on the Bible only. When I meet Teddy, Teddy talks about books. So I have structured also a system where I'll have people in my life that when I meet them, there's a way they take me deeper. They take me deeper. And then now the other thing also is there's a part where you must learn to enjoy company with yourself. There are gifts that are only built when you're alone. So like I meditate a lot. I also write a lot. If I show you my phone, I have notes on what I'll speak for the next 10 years. Yeah. So I have written the things I'll say in the next 10 years. So it's not a surprise if I'm called in certain places. So I taught him on how to even create wealth. And right now he's signing so many diaspora clients. So I see the phone as a tool. So when you begin looking at it from an angle of a tool, then you'll not become a slave to it.
Yeah.
It begins to work for you. For example, in my book, The Protocols, I've written the 5 rules of the phone. It's a very interesting book. I've written rule number 1, always have postpaid airtime. That's rule number 1. Even in rules of greatness, when people ask me, what do you need to do to become great? I ask them, number 1, do you have postpaid airtime? Kama unafuliza, kama unaokoa jahazi, already you are attracting the spirit of poverty. It's just as simple as that. Because already it positions your mind a certain way. Juu una count do ya fuliza. Mtu anakuuliza uko na dongapi, unasema niko na 2K na una count do ya fuliza. So there's a way in which you will not be able to work a certain way, and then it puts you at a place of instant gratification. Like kuna mtu uko jazi hadi bila kufikiria. Ataipress tu haraka haraka. Atacall msee ikisema sijui press 1 nini asha press. So it places you also at a place where you lack something called delayed gratification. So make sure there is postpaid. Number 2, never leave the house when your phone is below 70%. Number 3, make sure that you have your personal WhatsApp group where you write your personal thoughts. Number 4, write every idea on a notepad. And then lastly, number 5, always delete conversations za kitambo. Make sure that there is enough space. It's very psychological. It shows that you've healed and you're stable when you respond to all messages. Like responding to all messages, ensuring that WhatsApp yako ina 99+. Na people hadi usai mpaka sasa kuna message happy new year. So you see what that does? It fills your space. Kuweka nguo, kutumia nguo za 5 years ago, kutojibu messages.
Ati napenda hii.
Yes, kutumia hotpot ya 10 years ago, kikombe mpasuka nini handle. It puts you at a place where you're clogged.
Yes.
When you study wealthy people, I think you and I had that conversation I was telling you. When you go to the houses of wealthy people, you'll realize they only have 3 sofa sets. But when you go to the houses of people who maybe might not have, gotten the wealth mindset, you'll find that kuna vitu 5 kwa ukuta zikiwa zimefinyana. We believe that juu uko poor, unatry kuicompensate na vitu mob. Unapata mtu ameweka vitamba na ameweka kapilo. When you go to the house of a wealthy person, hawaekangi vitamba kwa kiti. So it also comes from a place of your story, ya mindset ya wealth. Like hautaipata Range Rover imewekwa nyasi kwa dashboard.
Pale mbele.
Yes, juu hautaipata Range Rover imepimpiwa because it doesn't need pimping, it's enough.
Talking now about that.
Yes.
Ebu maybe turudi pale kwa scarcity.
Yes.
Like which are some of the habits I think we need to as a way of exiting the mindset of poverty and the mindset of scarcity?
One, ni hiyo part ya superficiality, being superficial on everything. Being superficial, superficiality is coming from a place of mediocrity. Mediocrity means that you lack excellence. Now, excellence is a spirit and it's a skill. There's a spirit of excellence and there's a skill of excellence. Now, kuna watu wako na skill of excellence but hawana spirit of excellence. Meaning si sustainable. Like kuna mtu amehack skill ya excellence but hana hiyo spirit ya excellence. Na kuna mtu wako na spirit ya excellence, so kitu anafaa learn ni skill ya excellence. Daniel 5:14 inasema, the spirit of God came upon Daniel. He had an excellent spirit. So there's something called an excellent spirit, where you pray and you get an excellent spirit. But after you get an excellent spirit, now you learn the skill called excellence. Exodus chapter 35 verse 31 says that you've been gifted with all skills of excellence. So there's a level where you can have the skills of excellence. So nizapata kuna graphics designer akona skill ya excellence but ana spirit ya excellence. Jio ndo paitsa penye Christ wanakam kureconcile, right? So beyond prayer, as we were speaking before the set, there are many things that make a person succeed beyond kuwa prayerful. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 5 inasema, unto your faith add virtue, unto virtue add knowledge, unto your knowledge add brotherly kindness, unto brotherly kindness add spiritual alertness. Na inasema, all these values complementing each other, no day will pass without being rewarded. Let me break it down. So kuna patia faith Christianity, but pia kuna patia virtue. Virtue ni kuwa good. Yani kuna venye tu ni msemfiti. Umai realize kuna watu wajaokoka but they are good men. Mse ako generous. Ajui anything kuhusu God, but ni mse atakusikiza, ako calm, ako patient, kuna venye wako. Uni mse ako na virtues of life. For example, you'll find there are people who are not even Christian, but they have mastered virtues of life, like Muslims and Hindus. Wanakuanga na true virtues of life. Kuna an inner sense of patience wako nayo, inner cohesion, self-conquest. Kuna mavitu wamemaster. Neza taka usake book inaitwa The Road to Character, msaitwa David Brooks. And also kuna book inaitwa How to Know a Person. Ameongelea hizi vitu. For example, mtu akianza kulia ufai kwanza kumwambia it will be okay. Unafaa uache alie. Do you know many of us have not been taught how to empathize? Unaona msee analia unakimbilia tissue. Haifai hivyo. Unafaa utulie, alie. So like kuna listening, hizo zote, listening skills. For example, venye David alihandle Saul anamwambia va uniform yake, hakukataa, alivaa kwanza. Hiyo ni virtues. Hiyo ni diplomacy. So like kuna virtues. So faith, virtues, then add knowledge. So knowledge sasa ni kustudy books na nini. So hizi vitu zote zikisha integrate, zina bring in a balance. Utapata there are many Christians who've been fired from places because they lacked virtues. Boss anakuandikia message unasema noted. So hiyo una lack virtues. Virtue gani una lack? Una lack virtue inaitwa reverence. Kuna kitu inaitwa reverence wonder. Reverence wonder ni place yenye the same way niliona mse great siku ya kwanza. Sitai change when I'm passive na sitai change when I'm treat. But many of us, nakumbuka one day God ameni blessed na relationship na very great person in this country. I may not mention the name, but maybe one day tutakaa naye kwa set. Umse great, tulikuwa mabeshte mpaka alikuwa ananicall 11 PM tunapiga story 2 hours. Ni mse great, like nikwambia ni great Kajim, ni mse great.
Yes.
Huyo mtu unafikiria ni huyo. Na kama si huyo are connected na huyo. And you know I just lost the relationship because nililose kitu inaitwa reverence wonder. But tulianza kuzoeana na you know great people have a way of making you feel like nyinyi mamorio. They have a way atakuja joke na wewe,
yes.
akwambie tukule ama they'll open their space so much. Like actually what I always say is that be careful with a king who is friendly or a great person who is extremely vulnerable. Juu ndo utalose. Because a great person can place themselves in a way that utambeba ufala na atakushow. But kitu unapoteza ni greater. Like unaweza mtext a pic. I remember one day I was talking to Pastor T, alafu akaniuliza akaniambia ati akaniambia you'll allow me to call you tomorrow at 8 AM if your time allows. Nikacheka. Nikajiambia I will not fall for this. Nikamwambia I am available anytime you call me. Anytime I'm available.
So ukikosa discernment,
so unaona mtu mwingine anza bambika aseme maze cheki Pastor T ameniambia your time allows. And this Pastor T is a busy man.
Sana.
So there's a place where it's because many great people they have failed, they have gone through a lot, so it may create so much humility. Their hearts are so open. In fact, many great people don't even know they are great. Hawakuangi huko. So there is a danger of unaweza kuwa tu familiar naye and they can make themselves so available. So unless ujikumbushe that uni mse great, you can miss out.
Now let me ask you, what do you think as a church
Yes.
and as a body of Christ
Yes.
we are lacking
Yes.
to be great in this manner? We pray,
Yes.
we fast,
Yes.
we read the word,
Yes, sir.
we go to church, but you still find I think poverty
mentality.
bado iko church.
So there are 3 things. One, you part your lack of mindset. There is a part where Jesus cannot cure mindset. He can affect you in the spiritual realm, but mindset is your responsibility. For example, Jesus did not take me to the embassy to take a visa. It took me responsibility. It makes sense. When you study the Bible, the Holy Spirit gave Peter power. But do you know that ukisoma the book of Acts, Peter mastered history. He quoted from Genesis, the days of Abraham. And we some tu leo Acts, where the Holy Spirit came upon people. Peter aliquote history from Genesis mpaka New Testament. Aya, kuna reason mbona Peter hakuwa itumwa kuongea Rome. Paul pekee ndiye alitumwa kuongea Rome. Peter was an unlearned man who was on fire. Paul alikuwa amesoma law. Anasema I am a student of Gamaliel. Paul alikuwa tumse anaitwa Ephroditus. Ephroditus alikuwa ngaa philosopher hizo dame, alikuwa anaongelea masculinity. So wakati Peter anaongelesha Governor Felix na Agrippa, wale ma politicians, alikuwa na quote vitu zinawabamba. Acts chapter 9 verse 15 inasema, and I have been sent to the children, to the Gentiles and to kings. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa mandate ya Paul. To Gentiles, to the children, and to the kings.
Yeah.
So kuna part ya mindset, na mindset huwa ina lack sana kwa body of Christ. Big time. Tumelack mindset big time. Niyo mindset huwa inaonekana na vile tuna dress, from venye maasha watavaa, from venye kanisa imepangwa, from viti, kila kitu ina show up. Number 2, tuna lack seed ya greatness. Kuna kitu inaitwa seed. Kuna wase wajaokoka but wako na seed ya greatness. What is the seed of greatness? When I came the first day hapa, nikapata na uboy wako mwenye kwa nini. I told him that.
Director Joel.
I told him kuna kitu inaitwa seed ya greatness. You can look at someone and they have it. That's what David had. Hiyo ndo ilifanya Jesus akaenda kwa tempo akakuwa na kierere. There's something called the seed of greatness. You can't fake it. Hiyo seed ya greatness ni kitu watu upoteza wakiwa wadogo. Either kuchapwa, kukuwa bullied, kukosa kureiziwa na wazae. Kuna venye God anzai preserve. Utapata saka we Kajim venye ulireiziwa ukiwa orphan. God ali preserve. Hiki tunasema ni very serious. Ukienda ukae chini uifikirie, you will cry tears. You will see how God has been faithful. He preserves it. Kuna venye wana ikava. For example, Moses akugrow na mzae wake na mother yake kwa Bible. But God ali find a way ya mamake kuwa mid. Ndio seed ikuwe preserved. That every day atakuwa nakumbushwa, you're not an Egyptian, you're a Hebrew. David, God ali find a way ya kuipreserve na kumpeleka wilderness. So seed ya greatness, it's that thing in a person that makes them look at the world in a certain way, whether they are born again or not born again. And the seed of greatness can be preserved in many ways. For example, education system, where you went to school, the snacks you ate, the people you met, the house help who was at home. These are when the seed of greatness needs to be preserved. Now, there are people who don't have the seed. Like the seed is there, but it was buried. For some, it died. There's a level where you can be stepped until it dies. That by the time God anakam kwako, you're no longer great. You've lost it. Then there are some who, it's there, but it takes someone to stir it. Kuna places nimeenda nikaongelesha msee, naongelesha watu 1,000, but kuna mtu mmoja analia 2 hours. Na ananiambia, how I felt today, I've never felt that in a long period of time. There's a guy who was called by David, Mephibosheth.
Yeah.
You remember when the king wanted to favor him?
Yes.
Akasema, I'm not better than a dog. He had lost the seed of greatness. When you look at the response of David and Mephibosheth, it's different. Na nimeichapa study. There's a book I've written called By Sympathy or By Capacity, where I've analyzed the 10 similarities between Mephibosheth and David. All of them had 10 similarities. All of them. It's a very interesting book. Nimeanalyze that. Number 1, all of them stood in the presence of a king. What walipewa opportunity. But moja alienda by capacity, moja alihurumiwa. Mephibosheth alikam after 16 years. David alienda at 16 years. Wote walikuwa na similarities. Now, response ya David ni ya purpose. I want to kill Goliath. Response ya Mephibosheth ni victim mentality. Because you can lack the seed of greatness. It can die. You can go through so many things. Umaisikia wale watu walikuwa wanasema, mazee nikiwa mdogo nilikuwa naongea Sunday school. Mtu anakuambia mazee nikiwa mdogo nilikuwa prefect. But ukipatana naye, angalia wale classmates wako wenye walikuwa intelligent. Ukirudi ocha, ukiwaangalia, they don't look like it.
Yeah.
Angalia hadi sometimes some of our brothers and sisters. Niko sure uko na ule sibling ule kuzo wako alikuwa brilliant. But ukistudy life yake, I have a cousin who was so intelligent when you were young. Akapoteza mzazi. Then akago through intense pain back to back. Pa. Like after kupoteza mzazi, stepmother akamfukuza nini. Ukipatana mse years later, Ukipoteza hiyo seed ya greatness, even your eyes become dry. Nikiangalia macho yako sahi, kuna certain sense of freshness iko nayo. Ukienda study the Bible inasemanga macho ya David ilikuwa ina shine. Like he had a good presence. Ukistudy the book of Samuel, inasema Samuel was handsome. Joseph was handsome.
Yeah.
You're handsome, na Bible inasema they were handsome both in form and appearance. Appearance inamaanisha physique. Form inamaanisha virtue iko internal. Kuna handsome yenye si ya kunyoa na si ya kushuka nywele na si ya makeup. Kuna beauty yenye ni virtue yenye imepreserve na seed ya greatness. Na hiyo unaweza ipoteza through pain. Unaweza ipoteza through anger. Unaweza ipoteza through being misunderstood. Unaweza ipoteza by kuinteract na wase wenye wanaweza rarua your greatness. There are places where your greatness can be torn apart. There are places where you'll struggle to be misunderstood. You'll struggle to stand out, so you can lose it.
So you mean there is prayers.
Yes.
But there are
But
principles.
Your seed. Your seed lazima ikuwe preserved. Your seed ndo Samson alikuwa nayo. Ndio maana wako wana understand when you watamada. Na hiyo seed unaona ilikuwa preserved na kitu ndogo ya ufala nywele. That's when nimekushow like Delilah alikuwa anashangaa. What makes you this way? That yani kwa vitu zote kitu ilikuwa ina preserve mzito ni nywele. So there's something called the seed of greatness. Na hii seed of greatness kuna venye ina work. Na kuna vile lazima ikuwe maintained. Unaweza pata for you Kajim yako iko hivi juu ya generosity. The day you stop being generous, you lose it. Kuna mwingine yake ni kuimba. There's a reason why utangalia Sekaki na Joshua Selman, Grace Walubengo, before they begin preaching, they sing first. Na wakising, kuna kitu inakam.
At that point, what's the difference between humility, honor, and timidity? Which is, I think, has in the body of Christ.
Okay.
I think we don't.
So timidity comes from a place of fear. Timidity comes from the place of fear. It comes from the place of lack of power. It comes from the place of people pleasing. Undaku bamba wase. Nenza come here from the place of you've not seen the world, you've not seen life, you've not been exposed. So you are timid. You're timid because you've not seen what does the world look like. So anyone who's timid, either come from lack of exposure. For example, haujai kula food fiti, so nikupeleke safari park. So in the lack of exposure inafanya wanze kufurahi. Upige picha, unaniget. Wanze kusema, do you know actually saying thank you, saying over appreciation and over compensation is a sign of timidity. Like
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Asante. Umeshinda umesema asante. I had an auntie tuko tunaishi kwake and I appreciate her. And we were like 10 kids in her house. Na kila mtu akimaliza kula lazima ungesema asante auntie. Nimesikia auntie. Ndio auntie. I have a cousin sahi ni mnoma tech. Juzi tumeenda kwa event fulani. Msi akauliza who wants money right now? Asimame. Huku zangu akasimama. Kauliza how much do you want? Akasema $20. $20 ni 2K. Watu wakamcheka akachange akasema $200. Watu wakamchangio do hiyo saa. Na huku wangu mpaka sasa ni mnoma tech but hizi record video huwa anatetemeka. Ukimwambia introduce mbele wase anatetemeka. Cause hiyo tu asante auntie, ndio auntie, nimesikia auntie. Ndio auntie. Na huyo auntie yangu ungekaa naye juu ya venye powerful personality yake iko so powerful na iko intimidating, ungeanza tu kustukia umeanza kusema watu. Hata unasema mtu hajafanya kitu. Sema hata auntie jana hii alikuongelea. Hata you'll sit in the corporate world. Like unaanza tu kujisema hata vitu waziko. It's that powerful. So timidity comes from a place of lack of power. Either ulikuwa bullied, ulichapwa, watu waliraiziwa na brother yake mkubwa. Mzaa wako na mother wako kwa brother wako anachukua food. So it births timidity. Pia ushamba. Ushamba like uligrow ocha mazee, yani wewe ulikuanga always sidelined. Hakuna mtu aliyeko appreciate. You're not used to being appreciated. You're not used to being welcomed. So timidity. Number 2, honor comes from understanding. You cannot honor that which you don't understand or perceive. It comes from accuracy in terms of perception. You see, God visited Abraham, but he came in form of man. Na walikuwa wanapita tu. Honor is the ability to perceive places, people, and time. Abraham akasema Mr. Wabeba kwa watu wa kawaida, akawapea food na akawambia sit, na akawelcome kwa tent. Na hapo ndio alipigwa prophecy ya Isaac. Sometimes God can come walking in form of a man, typically. Honor is about perception. You cannot honor that which you don't perceive accurately. And you see, men only receive according to the level in which you've been able to honor them. For example, unaweza kuja kwangu kama Beni, ndakupigia story. Unaweza kuja kwangu kama Hin, ndakuwa beshte yako. tutakuwa itakuwa very intimate conversation. But ukikuja kwangu kama Walubengo, the moment naingia kwa hiyo whatever world, sasa hapo ume bring out the strategist in me. Na kuna different ways of honor. Kuna acknowledgement, kuna prioritization. Juu watu wajui the languages of honor. Neza, maybe one day we can shoot that series ya languages of honor. For example, kuna reason mbona lazima upost wase siku ya birthday yao. Because honor is not private, honor pia ni public. Kuna reason mbona lazima ugift msee na si gift ya ufala. Lazima iku cost kitu. Na hiyo cost kitu si doing, lazima iku a sacrifice. Bible inasema David alitithe 1 billion na apologize kwa God. Ukienda calculate the amount of things alipeana in today's world ina add up to 1 billion. Na apologize akaambia God is a Jew. Hata sikufaa kupea. So kuna place ya honor. Honor is about perception. Both, there's a time I used to tithe, nilikuanga na netwa jana to offering ya so. De flani God akaniuliza, even though unaniona. So from that day, whether niko na do ama sina do, I can't give offering ya anything less than 2K. That's how I perceive God. It's about how you perceive him. Relationship yako vitu amekuduia. So that whenever nikue church gani, nikue wapi, it's now a constant tool. Kuna venye utaanza kudeal na based on encounters utakuwa na God. Kuna place God anaanza kuhit na kubless mercilessly. Mpaka sasa useme even on the kureceive na even on the kuhandle. I don't meet my father, biological father, without giving him anything. Not because he's asked for it.
Honor.
Yes. And the first time, I remember I had saved 350K. Let me give you this as a testimony. Let me attach on 350K. One day I did an event. Rev Julian came in the event and gave me 80,000. He came tukiomba, tukisema may the grace. Akasema mimi nataka tu kitu moja. Is there any balance? Nikasema kuna balance ya 60K. Akatoa kwa bag envelope akanipea 80 Gs. Then from everything tulikuwa tumeuza kwa event books nini nilikuwa 70 Gs. So I had 150K. We saved it in a what is it called? In a bank. Nini? Easy account za kufunga, locked account. So niko church, Pastor T announce kuhusu ati church inajengwa. Akasema you can give 1 million. Kastukia nimeinua mkono kibati mbaya. Sikuwa nimesikia fiti. So mimi nikafanya. So watu wakaanza kunipigia makofi. Na naona ni watu watatu tumesimama kanisa mzima. Pastor T pia anastama ile ya uko sure. So nilikuwa nishainua mkono nikaambia God ni hivyo. Mimi sirudi nyuma. Nikiwa naenda home God akaniambia so tutaanza na wewe. Kumbuka nimesaved 150K kwa locked account. Nikasema hii sauti ya God. God aka insist. Nikatafuta do zingine hapa na pale. I talked to a number of people tuende tupeane hiyo do. But they managed to contribute like 750 and mobilize from people.
Wow.
But hiyo 150 yangu ndo sasa ikuwa rahisi. Because the day I was going, tunaenda kuhandover ido kwa church. Adi Rev Julian alikuwa kwa event akashangaa. At 20 years old, giving out 150,000. So adi Pastor T akasema, hii ni kitu ya kustudy. And I gave 150K na sikuwa na fare kwenda home. Looked so foolish. Later, nikaanza kusave. Nikafungua company. Day fulani nimesave 350K to 50,000. Niko tu church na pray. Nikasikia God amenishow, empty your account. Go bless your parents. Leo enda home. Piga shopping. Nikapiga shopping ya 30 Gs. Nikachukua envelope. Nikaeka do kwa kila envelope ya masista zangu wote. Nikawaita home. Kwambia tupatane home. God anaenda kushift season yenye niko. Tupatane nataka mni bless. I went home. Give the shopping. Nika gift mzae, gift madhe kila mtu. And I told them, of course hawajui ati venye watapitisha grace kitu wameidu. Nikamwambia we'll kneel down. All of you will put hands on me and then speak a word. So I did that. 2 weeks later, client called from America. Said anataka ni manage social media. Hiyo time nilikuwa nimefungua kampani ya social media management. Hiyo ni story nyingine tutapiga day fulani. Akaniambia how much will it cost for 6 months? Kasema $4,000. Kasema ile yenye nikijua tapingana. Na pia sikuwa nataka aone nikani mchezo. Jokingly, the client sent 400K. That's half a million for social media management. If today I tell you that someone can pay you 6 months to manage social media, so something that makes sense. From that time till now, I began handling between 150K to 200K a month. Because the seed I gave them and everything, it costed me like around one something thousand. After that, December 2023, someone calls me. A pastor T calls me in his house. Then I go there, tunapiga story, tukimaliza, akaita msee fulani. Aitwa Kevin akasema, I've been watching you on TikTok for 3 years and I want to gift you a car. My wife and I were to give you this car 1 year ago. But every time we wanted, to hesitate. But from last week, we've not been able to sleep. So I've come to give you your car. Sikuwa hata najua kudrive. Mse akanipea ndai. 4 months later, I went to serve a client, kumuinterview kitabu yake. Tukimaliza, akaniambia mko wengi, how will you go home? It's 1 a.m. Client akituprayer, mse amegift wase magari 22. God taught him on giving, na God akamshow, you'll not be sitting with a car for more than an year. So nikimuinterview your story, tukimaliza, akituprayer, nikaona akona Tecno. Hati yangu ikajam. Si ati phone, Tecno ni phone mbaya, but someone of his status, nilikuwa like afai kuwa na Tecno. I had an iPhone 14 Pro Max na S23. Samsung. Tukiwa na pray nikasikia God amenishow mpe iPhone. Yo iPhone nilikuwa nimegiftiwa na Shalin Ruto. Kasema iPhone. Kasema God wacha nimpe Samsung. God can show pe iPhone. Tukifungua macho nikampea phone. Jamaa kajam kaniambia, do you know I gave out an iPhone 1 month ago, exactly iPhone 14 Pro Max. And God told me he will return. Now because of your obedience, go take the van out there, 14-seater.
The van that I always see you with.
Yes, kwa handed over. Kapatiwa van. So honor is about perception. You must perceive someone accurately to receive what they carry.
Wow.
Then 3, sasa ni humility. I can't say I'm in a place where I can talk about humility. Because I'm still growing. Life has not tested me. There are things you can only talk about when life has tested you.
Yeah.
So kama sai, maybe at my level, being young and maybe I've handled a number of things, I can talk about E-level nenye niko. There must be a structure for you to achieve humility. For example, kuna ma event mi huongea for free as a way of disciplining myself. Kuna ma events zenye mi huenda ocha. Kuna time God aliniambia for 1 year nisipost event yote nye nimeenda. Kuna time last year nimeenda 6 months off social media. So, kuna instructions zenye God hukupea ku maintain a certain whatever.
Wow, I think I need you here more and more. Now, as we come to conclusion of this episode, but you promised that you will come here.
Yes.
Sometime.
Sure.
Do you have hobbies?
Mimi.
You look like you're very busy.
Niko nazo. I love food. I love fine dining.
So even this one meal must be...
Yes. Napenda fine dining experience. I also love, now like, I love music a lot. And I love watching also orchestra. Like when the live band experiences. I also love playing games. I do a lot of chess. I love playing with children. My hobbies are a bit expensive pia. Napenda horse riding. Like I'm also curious more about horse riding. I love hanging around water and greenery. So those are some of the things that I like. I also like fashion a lot. I'm very selective when it comes to like small things too. Viatu, dressing, colognes, and all that. I love traveling. Beyond sasa job na nini. I love just also experiencing different cultures. Ziko kadhaa ninapenda, but I'm also very intentional with your time yangu. Kama leo after hapa, I think I'll have one meeting. Then once I'm done with that meeting, I'm just going to lock up myself and study for 4 hours. But see, study ati kusoma ati na struggle. I enjoy watching documentaries and I love movies. Like I've just released a video this evening what I watch about the 5 movies that influenced me in public speaking. House of Cards, Suit series, kustudy tu watu kama Cross. So I also enjoy a lot of movies and documentaries.
Wow.
Kuna kitu inaniduia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want you to look at this camera. You give us your punchline as we come to a conclusion of this episode.
My punchline is watch this 10 times. Watch this 10 times. Watch this 10 times. Watch it until you can be able to speak to someone. Everything we've said, bila kuisikiza tena. Watch it and watch it. There's a lot that I've shared. It feels like a masterclass. It doesn't feel like a podcast. So watch it again and again and study to show yourself approved as a perfect workmanship unto the Lord. So we build capacity. Know the people you should look for. Know the people you should grow into. Then know the people who God should introduce you to. Because those three people are very different. And then also, proximity does not mean access. Just because you can access a great person doesn't mean you're close. Just because you can see them doesn't mean they have given you everything. I can give you 1,000 shillings and you think that that's a lot until you know that kumbe niko na 10 million kondai. So always ask yourself when you meet anyone, have they given me 20% of who they are? Could it be that nime scratch to surface kiasi na maybe nadhania nime get who they are? Because who a human being is, human beings are a system. And you must learn how to exhaust and maximize as much as you can, which means you can only do that when you have a pure heart and alignment of vision. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Benny, for coming to One-on-One with Kajim. And najua munasema kuwe hapa residence, ndio? Anytime that you will find some time, because I know you are just about to kick off, as I stated before. You've done Nigeria. Which other countries, by the way?
This year, it's been interesting. I did, what is it called? Uganda, did South Africa, I did Zambia, I've done Nigeria, I'm doing UK, Botswana, then back again in Nigeria, then finish up with Rwanda.
So this year you'll have gone to 9 nations.
9 nations, yes.
Wow.
Yes. And on my birthday last year, I wrote that. I wrote even the countries I want to go to.
Oh.
It happened exactly that way. So one day maybe we'll also talk about the aspect of meditation in terms of birthing out things. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Until next time, make sure that you subscribe, you like, you comment. And this is not just a conversation that you just want to watch privately. No. This one, it must go to the world. So make sure you share. Thank you so much. My name is Kajim. May God bless you.